This is the No More Wasted Days podcast, and we're your hosts, Sarah Kaufman Bradstreet
and Heather PG. Grab your favorite NA drink and listen as we share vulnerable stories so you never feel alone on your alcohol-free journey.
And gain insights from us as we break down our most used tips and strategies that have kept us alcohol-free.
It's time to break free from wasting any more of your days to the drinking, blackout, hangover cycle.
Welcome to another episode of the No More Wasted Days podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Sarah.
And I'm Heather.
All right, we are diving into another awesome topic. But before we do that, Heather, how's it going?
Well, it's going pretty good. I am at day 31, no meat, and day 15, no Sour Patch Kids.
Yep.
But I have binged on those teeny M&Ms.
The
two nights in a row.
Tiny.
Right. And you think, oh, they're tiny. I mean, they're like the size of they're not even as big as a thumbtack. What did I do? Ate a whole bunch. I don't even know how much.
That stuff is hard. So with that information for yourself now, are you thinking no sugar, or are you just get past the Sour Patch Kids?
I think I'm going to just get past the Sour Patch Kids. I've replaced my my creamer in my coffee to sugar-free. I did that 2 days ago and binged on the M&Ms. So I'm collecting data, and I'm just going to try to stay Sour Patch Kid free.
Isn't it so interesting? It is so the collecting data piece is huge when you're trying to quit drinking, when you're trying to give up sugar, when you're trying to quit whatever. I feel like all of us would be like, oh no, but now I binged on this. So collect the data and decide what you're going to do. And decide what's the lesser of two evils, because that was kind of my thing. Okay, what's the worst thing here? What do I need to start working on? And you can slowly take things out of your life that are no longer serving you by doing it that way.
Yeah. How are you doing, Sarah? How's your week been?
It's been good. It's been hectic over here. If you haven't been listening for a while, I'm in the middle of a house build with my husband. We're not building a house like we hired some people to build a house and we're overseeing it. We're the builders. We've been doing it all. And we are so close to being done. So close that I feel like we're never going to finish. That it's the first time in the house build where I've started being like, I don't know if we're going to finish this. I don't know if we can do this. And it's ridiculous because when we started it, I was like, oh, hell yeah, we're doing this. Now I'm kind of stuck. But it's because we're in the middle of selling our old house that has been a rental during this time. We've got an offer in. We're in all the negotiations. They just did the inspection of our old house. There's all of these problems with it that now that we have built the house, we know how to fix them. So it's really hard to go, well, we could fix that. We could go home and tear out our driveway and fix the plumbing issue that they're saying they have. And we have to go, no, stop. But it's just I've been stressed. I have been definitely having to revisit our stress episode and going, what did I tell everybody to do? What have I said to everyone that is, to keep you on track? Because the other night I did something I have never done in my alcohol-free journey. I chugged an NA beer. I wanted the buzz somehow. And I was like, I will just pretend it's going to get to me. I will just chug this and I will listen to a funny podcast. And luckily the funny podcast worked its magic and got me laughing and being okay. It wasn't so much the act of drinking the beer, but I kind of freaked myself out with that. Man, I've never downed a beer so fast. Luckily, no alcohol in that one. Got the buzz going a different way, but totally I have had to reach into my tool bag more than I've had to reach into my tool bag for a while. And it's been, thank goodness for our community. Thank goodness for sober content creators so I can go watch them. Thank goodness for Heather, my husband, all the people that can kind of be like, it's all right. Just take it a day at a time.
Aren't you glad that you have these tools and you can apply them for the stress of selling the house? Yes. And furthermore, you've learned so much on the build that you could think about these things from a different perspective, even though that might be kind of maddening. Your perspective has changed so much because you're not drinking. You're able to use the tools, go back, and then hear the warning signs from yourself.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I just did this. I've never done this before. Like, I need to do my top 3 tools.
Yeah.
And shit, I forgot them. What are they? And then go back and listen to your own voice to ground you. I think that's great. I'm sorry you've been stressed, but I do think it's a great perspective.
And
You
it's
you know?
like everybody's stressed and drinking won't help it. And I totally
No.
know that. I'm like, oh my God, drinking me, that would be just a disaster. Then I would be hungover and dealing with all this. So there's no way, like even the chugging of the beer, as much as it did freak me out after it happened, there was never a point in any of that where I was like, I gotta drink. It was kind of like I opened my fridge, was gonna get a spindrift, saw the NA beers, and thought, yeah, that's what I want. So it was just a different thing than that happens to me. But there was no like, oh man, I wish I had alcohol. I wish I could find something. I wish I could go to the store. None of that. But I am seeing that I need to see the warning signs a little bit earlier with stress
Mhm.
and go, this is probably coming and this, and make sure I'm working on this and make sure I'm where could maybe I add in a second meditation in my day? I've been practicing my breathing. So, gosh, I am beyond thankful for the tools that I
Yeah,
have throughout my recovery. It helps you be just a better person all around.
it really does.
So, in hearing us mention the community, we are talking about our Daymakers community. And if you want to hop in and have that support, so when something does happen on your alcohol free journey and you go, is this normal? You can actually come into the community and say, is this normal? Has anybody else done this? If you join the Daymakers community, we set you up with 6 to 8 monthly group coaching calls where you get to hop on with Heather or I and actually chat with us. And we have a 24/7 message thread that you can hop into at any time. And the conversations in there are ranging from people on day one to people on day 1,000, whatever. So it's a very cool thing.
Yeah, and it's global too. We've got people from all over the world. It's not just folks from America and Canada. So if
Hmm.
you're listening from across the pond, as I say, come on,
Yeah.
come
Come
join
on
us.
over and join us. I will put the link in the show notes for the Daymakers community. It's always there. Check that out. And today we're going to dive into a topic that I hear so many people tell me is the hardest part of quitting drinking. It's managing boredom when you quit drinking. Were you bored when you quit drinking?
No,
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 I wasn't
I,
either.
no, I had an 11-month-old and I worked full time and I was in leadership. And I mean, I just really busied myself, which is probably why I didn't get bored. So, no.
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
That was my thing. I intentionally made myself busy. I intentionally planned what I would be doing instead of drinking. I kind of anticipated that that might happen, but I don't remember feeling bored, but I'm not a bored person. I'm a person who's like, I can find something to do. I've always got a million tabs open in my brain, so I can to go
Yeah.
to one of those pretty easily. But since I do work with so many people and Heather works with so many people that are in early recovery, we know that this is a topic for people. And although maybe we didn't feel it, we have looked at our own past newly sober selves and said, what did we do? How did we keep busy? And was this an issue for us? Because I have people, that's like a number one comment. When people see
Mhm.
all the side effects, when you quit drinking, you might experience all these awesome things. Then someone always has to chime in, and you might be really bored, or boredom
Yeah.
always gets me. And if that's happening, it's totally normal because for me, it had become my personality.
Mhm.
Drinking was my hobby. Was that the same for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think about boredom, when you quit something that you do every day, you have a lot of time. Number one, because you're not doing the thing. But number two, you're not thinking about getting the thing or spending the time getting booze.
Mhm.
So you have more time in your mind also.
Yeah.
So you have like physical and mental time. Now you might be thinking about, oh my gosh, the wine witch is talking. It's 5:30. You may still be thinking about alcohol, but you just have more space.
You really do. And I think that was the thing that was shocking to me. And I was happy about it. I was like, man, I was thinking about this so much. And now I have so much free time in my brain. And that's something we'll actually talk about. But we're going to give you 3 tips. And they're 3 pretty big tips on how to manage this. So let's dive into them.
Let's
My
go.
first one is to make a list and get busy. Now, I have done other calls on how to manage boredom without just being quote unquote busy, because that can become its whole other issue if you're just a busy person all the time, right? Heather, just raise your
Yeah.
hand. I'm that
Yeah.
person for
Mhm.
sure. And that's probably why both of us say, oh, we didn't feel bored when we quit.
Right.
So,
Right.
but are you a list making person?
Yes. Yes.
Me too. And that's what I'm going to tell people to do. Make a list every weekend, especially because for me, weekends were my struggle time. Other people might work different hours, but I worked a Monday through Friday job at the time. And when Friday
Yeah.
came, I was like ready to party. Partying was drinking at home with my husband. It like
Yeah.
wasn't anything major, but I was ready for that. My brain was like, all right, it's the weekend. So
Yeah.
instead, I would have to make a weekend list and I would put fun things on there and I would put productive things on there. And when I would look at those productive things, I had to start changing my mindset around them, thinking, okay, I get this time to make my life easier for the upcoming week. Because I'm always stuck in this mindset of, oh, there's too much going on. Life is so busy. Life is so chaotic. But now I have this extra time on the weekend so I can do the laundry from start to finish. I'm just beyond proud of myself when that happens. I feel like I should get an award. Doesn't happen
You
every
should.
weekend, but I try. Do the laundry,
Mhm.
get it put away, and while I do it, I listen to a podcast, so it's like a happy time for me now. I would meal prep at the time. I don't do that anymore because I have a very teeny tiny RV fridge right now. There's no there's no fancy dancy room for meal prep boxes happening in there, but at the time I did it, and it really helped me, and I would have kids' lunch stuff repacked and set out, make my life a little easier. And even just thinking, okay, what can I do for fun over my weekend? So maybe I'm going to do all these things that are going to make my life easier. Then what am I going to do that is making my life a little more fun? We've talked about it before. Look for sober meetups. Go
Yeah.
online and Google sober meetups, and you're going to find stuff. What are your tips for
Yeah.
making that weekend list or just making a list?
I think that when you're making a list, I think you made a really good point about thinking about fun. And, you know, like Sarah said, check out the sober meetups. Just because you research it doesn't mean you have to go.
Hmm.
And, making a list and thinking about things that you're genuinely curious about when it comes to fun. And you can make, I mean, it's your life. You can make it as broad as you want with your curiosity, or you can just kind of lurk when you're making your fun list. And I do agree with making a list of chores to do and pairing it with something that will enhance the experience. I'll just give an example. Before I was a heavy drinker, I used to on Thursdays iron my clothes and watch Friends at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, I just really dated. This was when Friends was on, like, the
On,
OG,
I
right?
was going to say, when you said Thursday, oh, I knew.
If you know, you know. But just, watching your favorite TV show, getting into a new TV show while you're folding your laundry, or make a new playlist. Get on Apple or Spotify or YouTube and look for new music that matches your current vibe.
Yeah, I
It can
love
be
that.
so simple.
I think people overthink the, oh no, she told me to make a list. This means I need to do all those things I haven't been wanting to do. Well, first of all, you should do those things. It's going to make you feel better. But I
Mhm.
also know that if you are a person who drank to get things done, those things might take a back seat right now. And that's
Yep.
totally okay. And instead be like, I'm going to make a playlist. Or maybe it's first, I'm going to make a playlist and then I'm going to set a timer and do some of that boring stuff. Because one other thing I was going to tell you to add to that list, if you're making a list and getting busy, do some of those quote unquote adulting things that super suck and none of us want to do. But let me just tell you how much better you feel when they're done. You feel proud of yourself, something that I didn't feel a lot when I was a drinker. But now, if I can go through that junk drawer that's driving me crazy, or go through my closet and say, I haven't worn this shirt in 3 years, it's time. It's time for it
Yeah.
to stop taking up space. And oh my God, go through your mail pile if you're anything like me. My husband and I joke, we just went through our mail pile. And he goes, and this time, Sarah, we're never going to let it get this bad again. I'm like, don't even say that. We're going to let it get bad until it is weighing down
Right.
on us. Like, let's be real about who we are. Let's be really proud that we did go through this pile, but let's just know that it will probably happen again. But just
Yeah.
kind of say, I'm going to go through these things, and it keeps your hands busy. It can keep your mind kind of occupied, and don't get down on yourself as you're doing them. Because when I
Right.
quit, I was like, whoa, I let a lot of things slide when I was a drinker. I had piles stashed in so many different closets, and we lived in a much bigger house. And I'm always like, don't live in a big house. That's my number one recommendation. There's too much room for crap. But it was just like, whoa, I was never bored because I had a lot of closets to clean out.
Yeah. And when you're cleaning out those closets, you may find some hobby or puzzle or game or photographs. Or I don't know if you're anything like me, find anything in there. A damn sewing machine. Like
Yeah.
all and pull it out and be like, what lights me up today? Like, ooh, I want to crank up my old sewing machine. Or what, I want to play this game with my partner or my friend?
Yeah. Look at those cleaning out closets as like a good thing, and add those to your list. Make that list, get busy over the weekends, and then cross those items off because it is a dopamine hit and your body needs some dopamine right now. So
Yeah.
go do that. That's my first one for you. The second one is, do you want to take away the second one for us?
Yes. Get lost in hobbies.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember Sarah telling me that she picked up the ukulele, and I've said this in another episode. I didn't realize you were musically inclined or a music teacher. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, it was interesting. It wasn't, there was no judgment. I was just like, huh, okay. But as you said before, it's an inexpensive instrument that's fairly easy to learn.
Hmm.
But hobbies really are good for all of us to have. And this is a prime time to pick your hobby
Yes.
or a couple hobbies. Something also that you have said, Sarah, over the years that really helped me in the beginning of my journey on quitting alcohol. Well, successfully quitting alcohol was go back to when you were a kid or before you started drinking. What did you
Yeah.
like to do then? And for me, that was reading. And I started like reading tons of Quit Lit. And it served, I mean, I was doing a hobby. I was learning a lot about alcohol. I was staying busy. And I remember reading one of my favorite books on, like, I don't know, one of the first days when I was rage cleaning a closet. So, that is just like, I'm all for, I don't know, it's probably the ADHD or the forget to
Hmm.
go big or stay home. But like, I'm cleaning out the closet. I'm learning about booze. Like, I'm fighting the craving. I'm doing all the things at one time.
You sound
Right.
so like me. I understand you, Heather.
Like, feel me on a spiritual level. Right. But I think those are, like, really helpful, and if you're listening, you're like, "Oh, hobbies sound lame." When I started a podcast in 2022, it was born as a hobby,
Hmm.
and I taught myself how to do it from my iPhone because I wanted to learn something from conception and make it a hobby, and here I am.
Yeah.
It's 2024,
Podcasting
so
pro.
well,
She's got
much
a new
more
microphone,
experience.
people.
Right, true, very true. But yeah, just get really curious and just
Yeah.
try it, research it.
And I always tell people, try the things you did as a kid, and it's okay if you hate them and you don't do
Right.
them. Because I used to love riding my bike. This will date me. I used to ride my 10-speed bike around the neighborhood, and I would listen to Cher's Turn Back Time album. I believe that was the album, right? Is that the
Yes,
one?
yes.
God, I'm trying to remember the song. Anyway, I would listen to that album on my Walkman while I was just riding all over the neighborhood. So I was like, I'm going to try that again. I didn't have the Cher album, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try riding my bike. Well, newsflash, I hated it. I hate riding bikes as an adult. I've tried it multiple times. Does not give me the sense of freedom I felt as a child, but going on drives does. So I can go on a drive and feel that sense of freedom I felt as a kid. That's a hobby right there. I think people will say, oh, it has to be this thing where I'm creating. No, it doesn't.
No.
It just has to be a thing that you know you enjoy. So if you enjoy going on drives and listening to podcasts or going on drives and listening to Cher's Turn Back Time album, go do it.
Yeah.
And that's
Do it.
another one, like, go back and listen to music you used to like and see, do I like that still? Is that still a part
Right.
of me? Because it is a big time of rediscovery. And use that to your advantage. So some of the things I do now as my hobbies, I totally wrote building a house on there on my
Oh,
list.
that's a huge
It's
one.
it's kinda my job. That's how I look at
Right.
it. Every day I go clock in. But honestly, if you wanna learn how to build and you're a woman or you think, "Oh, power tools aren't for me." Yes, they are. You can watch
Yeah.
a YouTube channel and you can go do that and start learning how to build bookshelves and do all these things. And so if that interests you, go try something outside the box like building. I also am very into crocheting. I am a master crocheter. I'm really good at making doilies.
I
So
did not know that.
yeah, I isn't that a weird random one? But I love doilies
No.
because 'cause they're really challenging. So when
Huh.
I have the brain capacity, I actually make doilies, and
I
my
love
kids
how
are
to
gonna be stuck with so many. I don't know. But I mean, crocheting blankets, also good. You don't have to be intense like me, people. Reading, Heather mentioned that. I got back into that when I quit drinking because you know what? You can't read when you're drunk. You also
no.
can't crochet when you're drunk. Just
I bet
street
that right. Yeah,
right?
don't do that.
No, there's like a lot. Streaming shows. People are like, "Oh, well, you can't just watch TV, that's not a hobby." Yes, it is. Go binge watch some
Yeah,
shows. Heather always has amazing lists of shows. And
I
that's
do.
something we talk about in Daymakers too. Like, I'll go in and say, "We just finished this. What's everybody watching? Give me something new because I need a new show to binge."
Yeah.
So, and my
I
my last hobby is going on Pinterest and planning, decorating our house, getting a tattoo. All those and recipes, boring mom stuff too, but I like looking at recipes, so
yeah. I
don't
think Pinterest
overthink
is
this.
right, right, and, like, getting lost in a show is totally a hobby, and, again, here I am gonna pair 2 things together, but you're resting, you're
Mhm.
not drinking, and your mind is occupied, and you can crochet a blanket while you're doing all those things.
You see all those
So
things? So stop telling us you're bored, because
right.
we just we just gave you 3 things.
Right.
But
Um, outside of pairing ADHD things together, my hobbies include podcasting, listening to podcasts. I love to research random things, and I love to read, and I love bizarre shows, documentaries. I love taking baths. I am a phone talker. I am one
ooh,
of those people.
I didn't know that
I
about
will
you.
yes, I will talk on the phone and pace and go check the mail, get my movement in. Here I go, pairing stuff together again. And I like games. My spouse likes games more than me, but I do like song quiz on Alexa is good. I like music trivia, which I'm oddly really good at. And I love beating my spouse at that. So there are so many things to do, like diamond dot painting. I learned about that in the Daymakers community. And I like to write songs.
I
So
didn't know that about you either. Do you
yeah,
just write out the lyrics, or do you do the melody and everything?
I just write the lyrics. I
I
can
love that.
I'm not musically inclined, but I like to write and I love music. So, and I am going to get some more tattoos in March. So I'm on Pinterest, like getting ideas. And I also love Wednesday Adams. Fun fact I have a giant Wednesday Adams tattoo on my left arm. And like looking up like Wednesday ish stuff,
Yeah.
like gothic interior decor. And I so there's so much and everything I just named to you, I really did not do as a drinker. Like I wrote
Yeah.
songs, but they sucked and I couldn't read my own handwriting.
Right.
Like when I
I
was
remember
sober, like at the time, I was like, oh, this is so good. It wasn't. I mean, some of them might have been, right?
right. I think about that too. I think, well, I did stuff still when I was a drinker. I wasn't invested. I didn't actually care that it was something that I liked. I went hiking still when I was a drinker, but I wanted to get done so we could go to a brewery. Or I wanted to make sure
Right.
I packed some beers that we were going to have at the destination point. It was still so intertwined in drinking that I couldn't fully appreciate it. So don't overthink these hobbies. Go get some. There are things like Skillshare or Masterclass, which are online course communities, and they don't cost a ton. You can go get a membership. You can even usually try them for 30 days free and then try those out, see if there's something in there. Cause like Heather said, I love researching random stuff. Well, you can go research lots of random stuff. Like Amy Poehler will teach you how to do improv on Masterclass. That sounds super
Yeah.
fun. So
Yeah.
make
Ah,
kombucha. That was definitely one of ours. So,
right. That's awesome. And there's so many websites and opportunities to find new stuff. And like you said earlier, like you're discovering like a new person. So look up new stuff.
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
And don't get overwhelmed if you're not actually doing the things. This is all just for fun. So even if you're just
Yeah.
learning about the things, it's okay. We give you that
Yeah.
permission.
Yes. You have our permission. I do want to take a moment to invite you all to check out the show notes and book a call with me for one on one coaching. So I have a variety of membership options, and I have been working on folks a lot with shorter term and longer term recovery, but things like anxiety, boundaries, self discovery. Who am I without this substance? And I'm not a very rigid person, but if you feel like you need rigidity, I'm here for it. I've been a social worker a long time, so I can meet you where you are, anywhere on your journey. And I offer evening and weekend hours as well. So, anywho,
Awesome. Yeah, check that out for sure, guys. I think that sometimes one on one coaching is the thing that can take you from if you're struggling and you just can't get to that next level, it can get you there. Or if you've tried quitting before and it didn't work for whatever reason, a lot of times Heather can get in there and help you work to that next level of sobriety or being alcohol free, whatever you want to call it. As I get farther and farther on my journey, I'm not afraid of big words anymore like sobriety and recovery and alcoholism, all those words that scared me so much in the beginning. Turns out, guys, they're just words. I'm just gonna let
right.
you know that. And in my boredom, my not my boredom, but in my researching, I have actually looked up where are local AA meetings because I am like, I gotta meet some sober people around here. So do that too. I know we've mentioned it, but don't feel like you have to limit yourself because you think something doesn't fit the box that you're in. You're not in a box. You can always go try stuff. You can go check it out for 15 minutes and then go home. Heather mentioned that on another podcast. All right, number 3. This one is big. This one is my hardest one. I want you to embrace the boredom. I want you to realize that this feeling of boredom might actually just be peace or relaxation.
Hmm.
So, and I saw Heather wrote preach by this in the
Yeah,
notes. So I
I
want to
did.
hear about that.
Yeah, we're going to preach about it. And I'm going to tell you why. I was this summer old. I was 43 years old when I was like, you know what? I was doing my daughter's laundry. I was like, I think this might be peace. I said that in my head. And I pondered on it. And I pondered on it. No surprise that I pondered. I talked to my therapists about it. I was like, I think it might be peace. I was damn perplexed at 43 years on this earth that I didn't know if I was bored or like relaxed or at peace.
Yeah.
If you've ever thought, dang, I wish I had an entire weekend to do nothing but rest or X, Y, and Z, just
Mhm.
sleep. You see these memes. I need 3 days of sleep, blah, 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 blah,
Yes.
blah. Do it.
Yep. This is your time. We're giving you permission. And it is totally okay to take care of yourself and relax
Yeah.
and just say, oh my gosh, I finally have this time. This one is really hard for me. I feel like I am a person who goes, well, I can't relax until I have this, and this done. But I'm getting better. And kind of how Heather was saying, she was doing the laundry when she felt this. That's how I've been. I do these little chores around our land and I look around and I go, man, this is nice. There's no chaos in my life. I don't feel like crap because I'm hungover. I don't feel guilty because I drank last night. I'm just a lady in her 40s doing laundry on the weekend, feeling peaceful,
Yeah.
feeling happy. It is a crazy thing. And I think that that's one thing that freaks people out. It's not boredom. It's actually just a feeling of complete peace in your body
Yeah,
going, thank you. Thank you. You're not poisoning me. I can finally just relax and heal on the weekends from the crazy work week. And I feel too like I am a person who's always saying, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I'm working on that. That's a huge goal for 2024 for me that I have time and everything's coming at the right time for me. But it is a constant limiting belief for me. And when I quit drinking, I had more time. And it was such a gift. It still is such a gift.
yeah,
And take that time. Stop complaining that you don't have enough time because here it is. You're not thinking about drinking. You're not drinking. You're not hungover. Use the time, embrace it.
definitely embrace the time. And if you're if you feel bored, I think that's completely valid. But I think we've hopefully given you some things to think about doing. And if you're anything like me and you're like, well, if I replace booze with being busy, your worth is not tied to booze, nor is it tied to your productivity. We're
Mhm.
just encouraging you to have some fun and look at things from a different perspective and
Yeah.
embrace it.
Yeah. And
Take the weekend off and sleep, for
oh,
goodness
yeah.
sake.
And no one's judging you if you do that. I tell my
No.
husband all the time, you know what I need? I need a lay day. And what it is I just lay on the couch and I might do work from my computer while I'm laying. I might watch some Netflix. I might crochet. Like I'm still going to keep myself kind of busy, but sometimes my body just needs the recoup time. And it's something that I am learning to get better and better at. I'm also at a really busy season in my life. I think when you're in that little season, that 18 years where you're raising your kids, whoa, it's just like, holy crap, when's this going to end? It will, but find the time to really relax and just embrace it and say, wow, this is what peace feels like. And it's kind of
Yeah.
nice. So I hope these tips helped everybody. Really, truly get in there. You're not bored. You just need some ideas. And I think we gave you so many. And if
Yeah.
you haven't already, go follow Heather and I over on social media. Heather is at according to HPG. I'm at no underscore more underscore wasted underscore days. No more wasted days
Yeah.
was taken.
Yeah. And come on and join us in the Daymakers community and check out the one-to-one coaching link. Check out all the links in the show notes.
And be sure to leave us a review if you enjoyed this podcast or other episodes. And if you haven't already, hit the whatever they call it in podcasts. Follow us, subscribe, whatever it is on the podcast app that you're listening to. Do that because then you get notified when our new episodes drop each Tuesday. So thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for supporting us. We're having a blast doing this, and
Yeah.
we hope you enjoyed this one.
Yeah. All right.